Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Jason. I'm a channeler and I'm here to give a daily dose of hope. So today is Daily Dose of Hope Day 107. What a daily dose of hope is just that. It is just a daily dose of hope in these times where the energy is starting to increase and things are starting to get strange and wacky and confusing. And also, the energies are getting pretty intense at times. It can be very exhausting. At least for me, it's very exhausting, these energies. And three parts of a pocket daily dose of hope are first, a bit of a ramble, a bit of a channeling, and a pocket of peace, which is a guided meditation. Today, let's begin. So, first things first, I just want to talk about a few things. So recently I've been getting very tired by the end of the week, extremely just exhausted. And so I've been having to go to the acupuncturists almost like every other week, sometimes every week. It's not super expensive, so it's not that bad, but still, and it doesn't hurt either. The technique is an old Chinese method that doesn't exist in China anymore. I think it only exists in Japan, one of the very few places it does exist. Um, but but I was feeling I always get everything. I think I've talked about this before. If you've watched my other videos, I always get something with my kidney, with my adrenals. Like that's where all of the I was, everything wrong with me always happens there. And so whenever I get really tired, that's what gets really tired. So and that is the place where you're processing a lot of things, not just on a physical level, but also on an emotional level and spiritual level. That's where you're dealing with all of these energies. So if you're transmuting a lot of energies, that's going to get tired down there. What can you do, right? But fortunately, I have a really good acupuncturist that's close by, and she's really good. Today, they were even putting needles in my head. This is the first time. Um, Sounds like an old like 50s song. No, never mind. I'm not gonna. Okay. So that was one thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing is, so when Sandalphon took me underground, I told this to the membership group already, but I'm just gonna hint around it and talk about why I'm talking about it right now. So Sandalphon took me underground. He took me underground to see another advanced civilization. But before he did that, he took me to an in-between place which is directly underground. And it was very similar to, if you have ever seen the movie Indiana Jones, I think it's not the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's something about the tomb. Now I'm blanking on it, but it's a famous scene. It's one of the most famous scenes. It's very shocking. Uh, Temple of Doom. Maybe that's what it was called, Temple of Doom. And anyway, there was this underground chamber, and there were things that were happening there that were pretty shocking. And anyway, so that's what Sandalphon showed me. That below our feet in most of the major cities, there is some stuff going on that's not so good. And there are people that live there too, and they're human. They think that they're not human, but they're human. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was thinking about it this morning, like this idea of hell. Hell didn't really exist in most religions until afterwards. It was it was always added as an afterthought. Um, and I've heard some people, talk. There are like lower dimensions, yes, than our dimension, yes. But this idea of hell that we have, I think, is an actual 3D thing. I think because that's what I was shown was that place was not a higher dimensional or a lower dimensional place. It's the same dimension. It's the same 3D, just the lower end of the 3D, and that this stuff is going on under our feet, and that is why that is the balance, I guess, of the energies. That is why we're not fully living in this beautiful, wonderful, happy place. It's these energies are drawing down, and that's by design. And so, what I wanted to say was that I think is what hell is. That is what people are talking about when they talk about hell, and that's why it was added later. Because the original religions, there was no concept. It was just beauty and love and living on this life. But then, when the energy, as the energy does on our planet, it's like throughout our history. The way that I understand it, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. So beings will come in and teach us a lot of things, and then we'll learn that stuff, and then whoa, we go go down, and then in one of those lower places, that's when certain people. The other side of the yin and yang, because the people that are ruled by their ego, who believe that they are, they are, what's the word? They want to be gods on earth, basically. So that's being ruled by your ego. It's like, why would you want to be a god of illusions, right? Why would you want to? What doesn't it? Anyway, it's no place for me to ask or to think about or to worry about. But that's the idea. So the other side of the yin and yang is all about, it's ego driven. It's all about the word that is often used as service to self, right? I am the most powerful. It's 007, James Bond movies, any kind of guy in a movie that's trying to take over the world. It's usually, it's very ego driven. It's like, why would you go through so much trouble? Like, can't you see that that's going to cause you more trouble than it's worth? But yeah, that idea. And so that was where I think where that idea of hell came in, from those types of people. They created it as an afterthought, and it's a 3D thing. I guess that's what I wanted to say. There are lower dimensions, of course, but I think our concept of this idea is something that's very physical, and I think that's what we are coming to start to learn. I think, and it's really important for all of us to learn that it's happening right below our feet. That hell is on earth, and hell is in the third dimension, um, so that we witness it, that we understand it, and if we shine the light in it, that's how we can change it. If we blissfully say no, that's silly talk and all this kind of things. It's love and light and yay. Then we are not seeing reality as it is, and it's important to see what's really around us. I mean, it's not. I'm not condoning like going. What's the word? I believe in love and light. I believe that it's wonderful stuff, but I think it's really important to be aware of what's around you, just like in anything that you're doing. Like, if you're walking around the streets of a dangerous city, and you believe in love and light, and you're like, "Yay, love and light!" Well, many other beings who do not believe in that will say, "Hmm, this guy's an easy mark," and so that's the situation. So I think you have to have a situational awareness, not only on a physical dimension, but also in a spiritual dimension. You have to be aware of what's going on, that we are in this interplay between the yin and the yang on this planet. And that's I think that was what I wanted to bring about, that, and I think that's one of the things that's starting to be revealed more and more. And it's also important to know what's going on, so that you can help other people who are, when they find out about all this stuff, can be very shocked and disturbed. um, and Miss Angelette, you say yes, very be of the world, but not in it. We witness what is going on, but we don't let it impact us. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's not like yeah, I think that's the best way of putting it. It's just important to understand what's going on. That's all. But not to judge it in that sense as well. Not to get into it. That's bad. This is good. Just this is what this situation is, and to see it with very, very clear eyes. I see what is going on. I am not in sadness, I'm not in happiness, I'm not in anything. I'm just in neutrality, but I'm just seeing what is happening. And we see what is happening, but what we see is the past. We're seeing the past so we can create the future, but we have to know what's here, so that we can know what's here as well, because what's there is what's here. So in a sense, we are contributing to that by our feelings, by our every time we're judging something, every time we're hateful towards someone in our heart, every time we're, thinking negative thoughts, we are contributing. So then we see it projected outside of ourselves, and so if we judge it, we're judging ourselves, because we're creating it. We're helping to create this kind of thing. That part. The other thing I wanted to say too is that about the yin and the yang. There's um, it's a very like, I think that's like the next step for all of us as well, is that in the one part there is, for example, in the part that is not of the light. There's a light in the middle of that. There's a little circle of light. And that's so very interesting. So there are two different aspects of that place of no light. And it can be tricky maneuvering and navigating that. I'll just leave it at that. I hope I'm not being too cryptic, but I think us as humans and growing and ascending and discerning, we're learning so much about all this kind of stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Maybe there's something related, but anyway. Yes. So today is June 15th, 2024. And I'm going to go into a channeling. For anyone who's part of the channeling course tonight, so we're starting at 8 p.m. Japan time. Should be in the mail and everything like that. But I look forward to seeing you guys as well and seeing how you've been progressing. And yeah, so I'm just going to go into the channeling and what do I want to ask? Let's ask if there's any advice or any well why am I talking about this? Like why am I talking about this stuff to hell on earth? If they could give some clarity to that and anything else they'd like to share or add. Hmm. Greetings, everyone. We are that one that you know of as Sanatkumara, and we're here, and we're here, and we're here. And your world and your history is very fascinating. You, as humans, have gone through quite a lot of history, quite a lot of stories have been played out on this planet. When you come down onto this planet, onto this third dimension, you come down with the forgetfulness upon you depending on how much you want to forget. But most of you come down with almost an absolute forgetfulness and then a connection with your guides and with Source, of course. And so you come down into this. And so many stories have been played out, many amazing and beautiful stories, stories that are told throughout the whole universe. Your planet, your humankind has created some of the most amazing, moving, disturbing, and beautiful stories of the whole universe and even of other universes. You are legend. Your stories are legend because you come down here with this forgetfulness and with this free will and this ability to choose and to go down all of these pathways, both of the light and of the dark, up and of down. And so, because of this, because you are coming down here in a human form and you are coming down in this place of free will, there are many, many different stories that have happened. And you have done this, you have gone through these stories in order to resolve many of the issues that are happening throughout the universe. This is the one of a very few places where you are able to do this. This is a very rare opportunity to come down in a free will zone. There are very few free will zones throughout your universe and other universes as well. And so those who are allowed to come here, there's a long line, you might say, and there are a lot of prerequisites before you come down. Not anyone can come down into this third dimension. There are a lot of prerequisites. So, what in that sense we might say you have to be very advanced to be down here, to be able to have this experience. And so many of the star families send their best and their brightest down here in order to learn and to solve great issues that they have not been able to solve for many years, millions of years, you might say. And so that is what all of you are doing through your stories. You're weaving your way through to the peace of the whole entire universe through your stories, through your exploration of forgiveness, through your exploration of judgment, through your exploration of ups and of downs, through your seeing and understanding both the highs and the lows of this human experience. That is what is happening. And so, this idea of hell as well is one of those. Learning experiences. This is something that you all agreed to before you came down here to understand, to know that there is, because of this free will, this is one of the places that many will choose to go, and because of that, you have to, as a human, it is important, we would say, that for you to understand both sides, that they are both happening, that the The yin and the yang, one has not stopped working. They're always the white and the dark. There is always the light and the dark, and they are in perfect balance. But once you start going towards one side or the other, once the balance is tipped, that is when things start to get a little bit crazy. And that is when things start to change and shift. And that is when cataclysms happen. And that is when most of the cataclysms of your planet have happened, when the balance has been shifted one side, too far one side or the other. And we would say that this is also echoed out throughout the universe, because all of you have come from all of these planets throughout the universe. And the main difficulty that many of these advanced planets, as you call them, advanced, higher dimensional planets, what they are working on is this balance. They have gone too far to the light or too far to the dark. And it is impossible to sustain. That is an impossibility. And so you have come down here, but you are mirroring your experience there as well when you come here. And through that, you mirror it, but then you find a way to understand the neutral point. And that is what you're trying to learn here. You're trying to understand the neutral point, not in negating your emotions, not in negating your experience, but by experiencing all of it and understanding it and seeing it, but taking the neutral point, not judging it, not being in fear, not being in anger, but being in love and being of understanding that this is the world that you see now. Now, that is not the way, that is not what you have to do in order to change this world. What you have to do in order to change this world, yes, is to be in that neutral point. There is no other way to create. Creation comes from the neutral point, from the point of the zone, being in the zone. That is where it all comes from. So if you're not in the zone, you are just creating more fear or more anger, more mistrust. And that is the lesson that you've come down here to learn, that in order to change the world, you need to see it from a neutral point. Otherwise, you will not be able to change it and you will just contribute more to it. That is what you've come down here to learn. But you've also come down here to learn that the neutral point is not one of negating your emotions, of ignoring your emotions, of numbing your emotions, of numbing your experience. No, no. It is a direct experience, a direct knowing, a knowledge, of understanding of everything that is happening, and a choice, even though that you are feeling all of these things, a choice to remain in the neutral point. That is the true warrior of this world. You are the true warrior if you are standing in the neutral point, because then you can create heaven on earth. You can change, you can affect change from that neutral point. We are that one that you know of as Sandalphon. Wow. Sandalphon's a bit on fire today. Wow. That's okay. But yeah, that makes sense. The neutral point. That's, yeah, right. Because otherwise, yeah, we're just adding. It's like protests. There was a protest a few weeks ago in the town that I live in, the center of the city, and they were protesting a war that's going on. I say that in air quotes because who knows what's really going on. But they were protesting, and they were on one side of the, yeah, as you have to be if you're going to protest, right? I'm protesting for neutrality. Doesn't really work, right? But anyway, so these people were there, and I've talked about this before, but I stumbled on it. I was just walking around the town, just like having a coffee and just like, oh, da, 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 in my own world, and I thought, oh, what's this? There's something really not very positive about this group over here, and there's a group of police around, and which is nothing different from normal. If you organize a protest, the priests have to come, or the priests. Ooh, that's an interesting slip. The priests of the Matrix, the police, have to come and no, I don't. I'm just playing with words here, but the police have to come and police it, and so. But anyway, the protesters were so unenergetic. They had no energy. They were just kind of like walking around there, like, oh, I'm so tired, and they're just holding up these things, and it was such a dark energy and just pulled you down, and just it's like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? And it's like what they were doing. So what they thought they were doing was work, world peace, these kind of things. But what they were doing was just adding all this negative energy into the mass grid, into the consciousness, and Whew, so I've been clearing that area for the past, 3, 4 months every morning because there's still that energy there in my meditations and stuff. But it's like, so that was my mess. That's my thing. Neutrality, right? That's the only way. So if you're going to protest something, I guess, yeah, that would be an interesting thing for the future. Neutral protests, to protest for neutrality. Hmm, interesting. I don't know how that would work, right? Miss Angelite, you said, yes, a great message. Yeah, yeah, he was really on fire. That's good stuff. So let's do a pocket of peace for finding the neutral point. So finding the neutral point in everything that we're doing. So I'd like you to take a few deep breaths and yeah, get centered. And I'd like you to imagine that you're surrounded by this mist of unconditional love. It just surrounds you, and you're just feeling unconditionally loved. Like you're loved exactly as you are. There's nothing that you need to do to get this love. You're just loved exactly as you are. There's nowhere, and there's nothing that you need to worry about. There's nothing that you need to regret. You're just here in this moment, just feeling this love. And I'd like you to just feel this love and then just spread it out into your room, or the space that you're in, and then into the whole city that you're in, and then into the country, and then throughout the whole world. The whole world is just covered with this mist of unconditional love where everyone is just stopping what they're doing for a few seconds and saying, hey, I feel good. I feel loved. I feel this feeling like I haven't felt in a long time, that I'm just loved, that I'm okay. I'm okay exactly as I am. I don't have to worry about all that stuff I was worrying about for the future. I don't have to regret all those things. I'm right here. I am here. And I don't need any of that baggage because this is such a beautiful place to be here, to be connected with love. I'm in love right now. I'm in source. I'm in God. I'm connected with all there is. What a beautiful feeling. Wow. And then I'd like you to imagine everyone also kind of taking the neutral point then with everything that's happening that they see around them, everything that might be on the news or in their social media or whatever they're seeing. That everyone just takes a neutral point. They say, yeah, I see everything that's going on. I see this side and that side. And I understand that there's two sides, but I am of neither side. I am only of the side of love, of neutrality. So I see both sides. I understand that they're there, and I understand that there's a purpose for them to be there, but I am not going to join any side. I'm just going to witness them, and I'm going to put my love into that. So just imagine the whole world just doing that when they're sitting watching the TV or watching their computer screens or their smartphone screens or whatever kind of screens they're watching, or communicating with other people, that they just say, you know what, I'm just taking the neutral point. Just imagine that all over the world, everyone, even world leaders, just taking a breath and saying, you know what? Oh, I'm not going to do this. I've been forced into this situation, but I'm not going to do it. Just imagine that happen all over the world. And then just let energy just spread out throughout the world. And everyone is just in the neutral point. And maybe just for a few seconds, but that's all it takes. And just imagine that everyone is just creating peace from the neutral point. Yeah. All right. So that's a pocket of peace for today. And um, I hope you guys are hopeful, and I hope that you found your neutral points. And Miss Angelique, thank you very much for joining in, and thanks for your wonderful comment. Definitely be of the world, but not in it. Yeah, definitely. So thank you very much, everyone, and I hopefully will see you guys all tomorrow. Uh, Ciao. My cat's trying to get in. So ciao.